I am seeing a little too frequently these news headlines about homeowners who are having issues with their brand new homes built by these big national builders.
What?
I just can't. Homes are so expensive nowadays, and now you got to add in these poorly built homes, and people are now going to have to pay out of pocket to repair these issues. I mean, it's just unacceptable. And it's enough to make people to never want to buy a home from these builders. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 different news stories of homeowners who had issues with these big builders. And some of these stories are pretty bad. I mean, one story, the family had to be displaced for several months into temporary housing. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And I'm also going to share with you another story that came in from a subscriber. Thank you, Megan. And she shares her story about a home that was built by one of these big builders, but she bought it on resale. She didn't buy it brand new. And wait to hear the slew of problems she had with that. Oh my God. And of course, I'm going to be sharing you tips that you need to know if you're going to be purchasing a brand new construction home, whether it be with these builders or with any builder. So stick around. This is a good one. Let's get started. The first story is about Pulte Homes. Now, I was always under the impression that Pulte was one of the better ones out there. I thought wrong. Now, this story really blew me away. So check this out.
Their dream home quickly turned into a nightmare.
The laundry room is an absolute disrepair. We don't even have to go into the next room because you can stand here and view it from here. This is my water closet and my bathroom. It's just been a tremendous emotional and mental strain on us.
She says within weeks of moving in, April of last year, it became obvious corrective work needed for the home would go far beyond what's found during a typical blue tape walkthrough. When you look around, what range of emotions do you feel?
I'm heartbroken. I feel very disappointed. I'm angry.
Lacey says she first noticed the home's walls not straight, which she says made it difficult to open and close doors.
And so we started asking the warranty team to come in and take a look at things.
She says extensive repair work seemed never ending, and their newly built Pulte home became a dangerous, dusty construction zone. Drywall had to be removed in a major way, exposing beams throughout.
The more work that they've done, the more issues that they've found.
Lacey says the Pulte Group asked them to move into temporary housing at the company's expense to allow for more thorough repairs without risk of injury to her family.
We would give them 3 weeks. They could take care of those issues, and then we could come back into our home.
If you have to move out of your brand new home because the repairs are that bad, oh my God, how did this home pass inspection?
Oh my God.
What the heck? The story goes on to show that the walls, not only were the walls uneven, but the framing was off. I mean, it just, oh my gosh. Okay, so look, I did a little research and I did search Pulte Homes built in Texas in San Antonio. This is where this story takes place, in San Antonio, Texas. So I wanted to get a gauge of like, how much are these homes selling for? Now, several communities around San Antonio, the base price starts around the mid to high 200s. Another community was like the low 300s. The most expensive one that I found, the base price was around $417,000. Yikes. I mean, it's not cheap. But again, that's the base price. But then once you add on the finishes, and then also in some cases, you may pay a lot premium, right? If the lot is located in a nice location, sometimes you'll pay a lot premium of like $20,000 or higher, right? So if you're on the end of a cul-de-sac, they're going to charge you more money for that particular lot. You know, you add all this up. Oh my God, it's expensive. And then to have to move into that, I mean, this poor family they had to be displaced. I mean, fortunately, she did bring in a home inspector to go in and check their work. And he came out with a big report of all the issues that were wrong with the house. Now, unfortunately, the problem did escalate where they had to file lawsuits. At the time this news report was done, Pulte had halted repairs because they were in the middle of a lawsuit because they were at an impasse. An impasse for what? You guys screwed up. It's there. You guys have been making the repairs on it. You had an independent inspector come in to show you what's wrong with it, what all the issues are. You're at an impasse? Anyway, this blew me away. Huge disappointment to hear this about Pulte Homes. Again, I thought they were better than that, but yeah, I was wrong. All right, next we have Toll Brothers. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Toll Brothers. They do build a lot of homes here in New Jersey. There is a Toll Brothers community actually in my town, and I actually helped buyers purchase a luxury townhome in another part of New Jersey about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, so that's like 4 years now. Beautiful townhome. And I have to say, I always pictured Toll Brothers as to be one of the better builders. Now, look, I get it. No builder's perfect, but Toll Brothers, they're not cheap. They're not. And in my own personal experience with buying a new construction home, I always put Toll Brothers on a higher pedestal. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are like, are you crazy? I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, wait, no, Toll Brothers is crappy like the rest of them. Well, yeah, well, apparently I'm a little clueless. So I found this story about a community in Idaho. Yeah, wait till you hear this one.
Flooded crawl spaces and thousands in repair costs for neighbors living in Sterling Ranch. I'm your CUNA neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, and homeowners tell me that more than 20 houses on this side of the subcomplex are experiencing flooded crawl spaces, which they say is causing big problems for their newly built homes.
As of right now, we have a Band-Aid fix.
Ryan Penny is a first-time homeowner in CUNA. He bought his new house from Toll Brothers with a 1-year warranty.
I found a bunch of water underneath the vapor barrier on top of it.
But after discovering his crawl space was filled with water, he went door to door asking his neighbors if they had the same issue.
But I was actually breaking news to them that they might actually have water in their systems.
He found out that he wasn't the only one. 25 of his neighbors had similar issues, some of which had already gone to Toll Brothers for a fix.
What? Oh my God. 25 homes with water issues in the same community. But wait, it gets better. So these homeowners tried to go the proper route, right? They tried to have these issues repaired during the 1-year warranty period, but many of them, they couldn't get Toll Brothers couldn't fix it. They tried to remedy it and it didn't work. And here's the rest of that story of what happened to these people when Toll Brothers couldn't fix it.
Water's still coming in the crawl space. It's still an issue that needs to be resolved of why water's coming in.
He, like many of his neighbors, had to pay out of pocket to find a fix that worked. That cost to homeowners ranged from $7,000 up to $30,000.
We'd have to move. We're on a fixed budget, and there's no way we can afford any $10,000 or $4,000 remedy.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad. Okay, can you imagine to pay upwards to $30,000 to fix their mistake? Oh, no. No, that is completely unacceptable. Like, why just own it? I don't understand. Why can't these builders just own it and make it right? They paid a lot of money for these houses. Again, Toll Brothers is not cheap. Okay, why are they not doing the right thing? Now, and what really breaks my heart is that poor man that said he has to move. He has to sell his house because he can't afford to make those repairs. He was on a fixed income. A lot of people in this country are struggling financially these days, and they're all excited. They're buying a brand new home. They're able to get into a home only to have to shell out thousands of dollars to fix their mistakes. My biggest concern for this gentleman who says he needs to sell is he's going to have a hard time selling it because now he has to disclose that water issue to potential buyers. What the heck? He's probably going to have to take a loss. And those 25 people in that community, if they all choose to sell, it's going to be the same thing. They're all going to lose money on their homes if they go to sell it. I mean, this is just outrageous. This is so outrageous. So what was Toll Brothers' response to all of this? So this news anchor went and called them to interview them to get their side of the story. Here's what their response was.
I reached out to Toll Brothers regarding the problems in Sterling Ranch. They declined an interview but did respond with a statement. Quote, Toll Brothers has a 57-year history of standing behind our homes, and we have an excellent record of working with our homeowners to ensure that all claims are reviewed and resolved under our warranty. We encourage our homeowners to reach out to us directly with any concerns.
Oh, the canned response. Look, I get it. There's like legalities and all the things. They can't speak on the issue, but that's the best you got, Toll Brothers. I mean, come on, do better. The next story we have is about the builder Lennar. Now, I'm actually familiar with Lennar because I did buy a new construction townhome from Lennar about 4 years ago. I will say the process of working with them throughout the whole build process was pretty easy, pretty simple. Knock on wood, we didn't have any issues. But when I came across this story about this poor woman in Maryland who had a house built by them and the issues that she came across with uneven floors. Are you kidding me? This is just outrageous. So check this one out.
The first floor of the home looks as if it's still under construction. Hawkins said the house has had endless problems.
But this up here is higher than down there. So if you're just standing here and you look, you can see that that is higher than that over there.
Hawkins said she noticed the uneven floors during her final walkthrough last December.
The builder came out and they were really pressuring me to close. And I said, I'm not closing, something's wrong. And I noted it during my walkthrough inspection that something is wrong here. And so what they did was they lifted up the floor, they sand the subfloor, and they put down leveler.
In an attempt to level out the floor.
This is the master bedroom.
She closed on the house, but she says the floors were still uneven.
That's just where you can feel that something's uneven. Other thing that you'll notice here.
So she hired a structural engineer to make sure it was safe.
The structural engineer came out, he reviewed the floor, he reviewed upstairs, everything, because both levels are uneven.
The report confirmed the floors on the first and second floor were uneven, confirming her suspicions, even pointing out the, quote, haphazard attempt at correcting the problem. The engineer writing, given the construction deficiencies observed in our limited assessment, there is a concern regarding the overall construction of the property.
Okay, so a couple of things here. First of all, good on her for bringing her own level to check to make sure the floors were even. I mean, you can tell when you walk into a house, you can feel it when if the floors are uneven. You can totally feel that. So what a crappy response to that they just go in and they sanded down the subfloors like that was going to make it better. You knew the problem was bigger than that. They just wanted to get the home sold. They wanted to close. This is the goal of these builders. They're going to build it, sell it, and move on to the next one. They have to move the inventory. But for her to go to the extra level, she had to hire a structural engineer to prove her case to them. God, I mean, it just sucks. And, at the time the story was done, the problems were still ongoing with all those issues with the home being uneven. And apparently it looked like that it wasn't built properly at all. Now, this news story did go on to share that there were 4 other homes in that same community that were sitting vacant at the time that this news anchor went in to do this story. And come to find out, the reason those homes hadn't been sold or they weren't closed on yet because the county wouldn't issue the CO or use an occupancy certificate because they had cited issues with the home and they're waiting on Lennar to make those corrections. And at that time, those homes are sitting there. They hadn't made the corrections yet. So, oh my God. Look, again, I personally owned a Lennar home. Are they the best quality? No. But are they the most expensive home? No. Buyer beware. You know this. You get what you pay for. So we knew what we were walking into when we bought this. We bought that house specifically as an investment property, right? We were testing the waters on being landlords and using this as an investment property. We've since sold that home, but I will tell you, over time, there were some shoddy things that we discovered in the home. Some things had fallen apart, like a piece of siding had popped off the side of the home. The brick facade above our garage, one of the pieces fell off. Like little things like that happens. But thank God it wasn't anything like what this poor woman went through. But oh dear Lord. Oh my God. Hey, I did want to add in here that if you are in the process of buying or selling a home, and hey, if you are looking for a new construction home and you need to get connected to a real estate agent, please click that link down below in the description box, fill out the form, and I will get back to you and get you connected to an agent in your market. The next story is actually a story that was shared by one of my subscribers, by Megan. Thank you so much, Megan, for sharing your story. Megan bought this home that was built by one of these national builders as a resale home. The home was built in 2013. She bought it in 2021. And once they closed on it, there was a whole slew of problems that came with it. Can you guess the builder? It was none other than D.R. Horton. So let's hear Megan's story. I wanted to include my experience with a D.R. Horton home I purchased in 2021 in Northern Virginia. I did not work with the builder, nor did I buy from them. The home I purchased was built in 2013 by D.R. Horton in a D.R. Horton community. The HOA fee was a nominal $12 a month and covered a sad playground and streetlights. Aside from this house, our previous home was built in the mid-1980s. Being second-time buyers, we thought we knew what to expect when buying properties and all the maintenance and associated costs involved. All of that said, while I was excited for a more modern home that would suit our needs, we were not prepared for the money pit it would quickly become. We are a single-income, active-duty family with 3 young children. At the time we closed, the structure was under 10 years old. In the 3 short years we owned it, oh God, get ready for this, guys. The hot water heater went. That cost $1,000. The roof ridge and plywood had rotted and rusted, allowing rain intrusion to the home, soaking the beams in the attic before leaking into ceiling lights in our master closet and soaking the ceiling in the garage. That repair cost them $14,000. The air handler for the electric heat/AC was installed with the incorrect gas. I'm not sure what that means, but we had to do a $3,000 conversion. And then the water main line from the home to the municipal connection in the front line began leaking, costing us $12,000 to repair. It involved a directional drill and jackhammering the foundation to lay a new water main line. Can you imagine? The plumbers who did water main work for us said they had already done 4 homes in the neighborhood and expect to do more, as new construction tends to use really cheap, inflexible piping that just cracks over a relatively short period of time. Needless to say, 2 months after our water main fiasco, our neighbor's water main line went as well. The tiles laid in the downstairs bathroom and kitchen were not installed with the level, apparently, as they were all cracking under the normal weight of a human. Grout was popping, and the grout in the laundry room would pop out when mopped. We did the demo ourselves and found that whoever installed the tile must have brought their dog to work and allowed it to urinate all over the subfloor. Ew. The smell of dog urine, neither we or the previous owners had dogs, was atrocious, and we ended up having to replace a decent amount of subfloor. We shelled out another $4,500 to install new flooring. God. The subfloor on the second floor was popping and raising it in areas under the carpet due to poor materials. And we spent countless hours repairing anywhere from 5 to 10 nail pops in each room of the house. Outside, there were no vent covers ever installed on the bathroom fan vents, and the houses were placed just close enough that during the summer, when the sun would shine on a house's windows, the glare would melt their neighbor's siding. Oh my God. Further, the aesthetic bricks placed around the foundation of the first floor, I call them sticker bricks, all started peeling away in columns. Yet another repair in 3 shorts that we had to take care of on a home that is now little over 10 years old. An absolute nightmare. Oh my God, Megan, I am so sorry you had to deal with all of that. Good Lord. So let's add up all of the costs that they spent on those repairs. $34,500 they spent on these repairs on a house that wasn't even 10 years old. That's god-awful, Megan, and I'm so sorry that you and your family had to endure that. So are we all just going to say we're never going to buy a new construction home by any of these builders? Well, some of you may feel this way right now, that you're never going to do it, but I'm going to share with you tips to help guide you through the process if you need to purchase a new construction home. Now, look, the homes are being built every day and people need a home, right? We know there's an inventory issue. People need to get the home. And a lot of these builders are offering incentives for people to buy the home. So I can understand it's a more affordable option right now. So this is what I recommend. First and foremost, number 1, hire a real estate agent to help you buy that new construction home. Hear me out. For the most part, the builders are going to pay the commission to the buyer's agent. So I know you're thinking, oh, I now have to pay for a buyer's agent. Not necessarily. The builders will pay the commission to the real estate agent. Now, I shared my story how we had purchased a Lennar new construction home that was actually out of state. So we had a real estate agent represent us in that purchase. And it worked out beautifully because she was actually involved with every step of the process of that home being built. So she was talking directly to the sales office, and she would check in on the home during each phase. Like when the framing was done, she went in and checked the home for us. And when the drywall went up and the flooring, all the things, she periodically went in and checked to make sure everything was on the up and up. I mean, she knew what she was looking for. So if there was a red flag, she would make us aware of it. Fortunately, there were no red flags. But if you hire a real estate agent that specializes in new construction, it's well worth it because they know what to look for. And if there's anything that is glaring at them during that process, they can point it out to you and hopefully get it rectified before they continue on to the next phase of the build. So first and foremost, that's what I would do. Don't work directly with the sales office. No shade to you salespeople, but you need to bring somebody independent, okay, that's representing you, and that being a real estate agent that's not affiliated with that builder. There you go. Number 2, bring in your own home inspectors through each phase of the build. This is going to cost you probably several $100s, and that's okay. Because if issues are discovered, you can get it rectified before the house is completely built. Now, in these stories, I wish these people had done that. They had the gumption to go ahead and bring in their own inspector during the process. I mean, to them, they may have thought, okay, the house looks fine. I guess it's okay, because they're relying on that project manager that's, overseeing that build. They're overseeing your house being built. So I wouldn't be trusting them 100%. Now, look, these guys do have experience with building homes. They may have worked for a contractor, or they were a contractor and a home builder prior to them working for these bigger builders. But you got to remember, they're in the business of moving the inventory, okay? They want to get the homes sold. So this is why I say you bring in your own home inspector to inspect each phase of the build. And if that inspector points out any issues, you get that rectified before they continue with the home. That's it. You don't let them move on to the next phase until whatever problem you discover is fixed first. That's what I would do. Next piece of advice I'm going to give you is if you find that there are issues and they're not going to be working with you on this and you're not comfortable with it, you can walk away. You can. Now, will you lose your earnest money? You might. You got to read the fine print on your contract. You got to be careful, make sure there is some type of out clause. Listen, I'm not 100% familiar on that. I'm sad to say that, but just read the fine print. And if there's any problems and they're not willing to address it, you might be able to get your money back and get your down payment back. But bottom line is, say if you got to walk away and lose like $10,000 in earnest money on the house, I think that's well worth it than having to go through the nightmare like the first family with the Pulte home, where they're displaced in temporary housing. And now they're in the middle of a big fat lawsuit against Pulte to get the house fixed. So sometimes you just got to cut your losses and move on. Now, in the case of Megan, okay, she bought a resale that was built by D.R. Horton. This is what I will tell you to do. If you are going to be purchasing a home in any of these communities and you find they don't have the best reputation, talk to the neighbors. Talk to people who live there, who've been there for a while. See if they've been having any problems. And if they have been, guaranteed the house you're going to be buying, just like in Megan's situation, there's going to be problems with your house after you close. As I say all the time, do your due diligence, do your research, find out what you can about the other homes in that community. And if there are problems, I wouldn't be buying the house. Sorry. Okay, so now you know that you should probably never buy a home from these builders, but do you want to know what other types of homes you should never buy? Right here. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.